Welcome to the second day of Pride Fest. We are out here again with Link Up Chicago. We're going over our second day with harm reduction. Yesterday we had Threshold and Berkey. Today we'll be talking with Scott Noble. Scott Noble runs a kind of pretty much a one-man show called Ankh. Link Up is now doing a collaboration with him to help him further his cause. Because we kind of have the same cause. So welcome today, Scott.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's start off. Kind of tell us what Ankh stands for, how you started it.
Okay, Ankh is a name that I got from the men I serve on outreach. It's a name used for a term of endearment for leadership or guidance. Although you know uncles can be positive, they can also be negative. It basically started from a ministry center that worked with male sex workers. When that organization closed, I had started to go to Jackson Park. So when the organization closed,
I have to talk louder.
yeah.
I mean, we have a little bit of feedback going on with the parade, so just keep your voice a little bit louder, so we'll have the feedback. So good. So you Jackson Park, you've done Washington Park.
Yes, we went to Washington Park and Jackson Park. When the ministry center folded, I continued to do outreach because the ministry center at that point, they were only catering to the men in Boys Town. And I said, well, the men out south have these issues too. So that's when Jackson Park site was created. When the ministry folded, Jackson Park was no longer in the plan.
Okay.
So I continued to do it because that was pretty much my baby and the men depended on it.
So after the ministry folded, how long have you been doing a solo act on your own right now? How many?
This is actually the third year.
Your third year?
Yes.
Okay. And so we met you, I wasn't part of Link Up at that time, but it was last year. You all had a connection and we reconnected with you this year.
Yes, I was on a panel.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then now we've just started outreach with Ankh. We recently on Thursday met with them down at Harold Washington Library where there is a group of young men there and kind of followed him through and starting our services. So tell us a little bit of what you do down at Harold Washington Library and how often are you been going down there and would like to go down there?
Well, with the reconstruction of the Obama Library, Jackson Park has somewhat been eliminated, that site. So Harold Washington Library, I kind of came upon that during my internship. Just seeing the people out there, the homeless people, I began to see a few people from Jackson Park. Near the end of the internship, which was about a year, I started to see the population grow. Mm-hmm. And that was due to the immigration overflow. And
so with immigration, I mean, you're seeing more Hispanics or Spanish, Latin speakers in general outside, because normally it would have been black, African Americans?
Yes, that population down there has doubled.
Okay.
And it's really challenging because most of them, the new generation is like 18 to 25.
Okay, that was going to be my next question, the age group there.
Yeah.
And do you know, like, from when I see you've been taking scopes, so then generally, are these kids who have been part of the system and now are aged out, or they've been kicked out of their home? Do you have any idea?
Well, Jackson Park compared to Harold Washington Library, a lot of the men have the same challenges.
Okay.
But the ones down at Harold Washington Library, they are extremely suffering from mental illness challenges, hunger, unemployment, incarceration, disconnection from family, friends, not being medicated, not doing appointments, just really it's.
So right now, how often have you been able to go down to the Harold Washington to
well, after
outreach?
I had pretty much had been going all during the internship. When the internship ended, I had planned to go twice a month. But with the overflow of people, I started going 4 times a month. And this month, recently I've been twice, and one time was with you, which was a big help. Did you see how
we were happy to help?
Yes,
yeah.
it was really.
So we look forward to helping more.
Yes.
And just as we're going on, so with a quick pause. So if someone is interested in possibly coming out to be an outreach worker for you, where can they contact you?
Okay, one thing that's unique about UNC, which also stands for Unity Network Community. My community is basically generated off the community. That's information, that's the barriers and challenges that they have, and what I do is connect them to safe providers.
Right.
So the biggest challenge that I'm having now is keeping track of these men because they usually don't have any cell phones,
Right. But no, but
incarceration.
if you want, if someone's after seeing this wants to join you and help you with your cause, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, one of the first key elements is being lived experience, been there and done that. If they have previous experience with substance abuse, mental health, incarceration, and have made progress to make changes,
Right.
and that way we can
So is there a phone number or email address they can reach?
definitely.
What would that be?
ARC is basically run off volunteers. Now, if anybody wants to volunteer, I usually have trainings. I try to have them once or twice a year. That will go over the guidelines, some of the rules, safety precautions, and more than anything, safe care, self-care, because
Okay.
you're dealing with
So
lived experience. They have
if they
to be able
want
to
to
take
get
care
that
of themselves.
information, is there an email address or
Yes, you
phone
can
number?
that's my
What's the
email address.
What's the email address?
Yes.
Say it. What is it?
It's UNC, which is Unity Network Community. I know
So
it's
we're saying
wrong.
Unity Network Community is at .org, .com.
At Gmail.
so,
At Gmail.
so say it one more time completely. So Unity
Unity Network Community.
at gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay. And if you still didn't get that, you can also reach us at linkupshy.info and say that you've seen this and you want to help Unc as we are. You can either join us or we can get you in touch directly with him and you can help him with his cause as well. So as Link Up has been doing, helping gay and bi, black, same-gender loving men who are either using methamphetamine currently or have been in the past. We are having a non-judgment. We're just helping you in your journey and making bridges with other organizations as of UNC. So on Thursday, we went out, we identified a few, and we're going to continue to go out in the hopes of helping them further with in some cases that somebody needed all their identification rebuilt. Like we're going to put them in service to get social security cards, birth certificates, regular IDs. Of course, the big thing has been housing with all organizations. Some may have just been incarcerated and coming back out,
Yes.
and there are just services out there that they may not know about that get them back in the system. So with UNC comes to me, then we bridge off to other organizations as well. If you have an organization, you've seen this, and you want to be a part of our collaboration, we will ask that you, again, you can hit up linkupshy.info, and we can send you out information and work out a collaboration as you as well. So going back to talking about a little bit about the methamphetamine, as you're seeing that a little bit more, I spoke to one gentleman one day we were there, and we were asking how is he obtaining crystal meth, and I guess the other part is that a lot of them only don't realize it's by other names. So you're saying you're asking about methamphetamine, and something that they don't do that,
Right.
that they do crystal, but not knowing it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So with the gentleman we met, his main thing was needing to get new IDs and things like that, but he has been introduced to by people coming into those areas, collecting them and just inviting them to the party and just going from there. And so
Right.
are you seeing that like with the workers, with their Johns and things like that that are introducing this
You
to
know,
this now?
I'm definitely hearing a lot of that. I'm going to say mainly since COVID started. I had one gentleman that he was with his normal John, but the John changed the drug on him.
Okay.
He went from cocaine to meth.
Without his knowledge.
Yes, my participant was very upset about it because he said, that's not my thing. He was a little irate. He left. He brought it to my attention. And I saw him, he showed me the meth. I tried to take it from him, but you know he wasn't going for that. So he says, well, black people don't do this. Help me take it up north so I can sell it to some white people. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. And that's when I tried to take it from him.
Right.
He wouldn't let me. So at that point, COVID had really kicked in, and I was doing my internship. And by me being Unc, the people in the community let me know what was going on. They told me, they said, Unc, he's using it now. So at that point, it had crossed my mind, but I really felt kind of helpless at the time. And I went to seek him out, and then I found out it's been within the last year that he OD'd. He was found on the side of the library deceased,
yeah.
and that really bothered me. I think a lot of the men, if they were suffering before COVID, I think COVID might have made other circumstances come up as
Worsen.
meth use
Yeah.
or physical or mental abuse continuing.
Yeah.
And it's just
So we
been out of
talked
control.
last Saturday with Ann Berkey from Threshold, and that's something we've been constantly talking about. That the obtainability had changed during COVID because I think a lot of young men who normally would not have had the finances due to stimulus allowed them to have those finances and put them in that group, and it has changed that age, and I've seen more black young men using it that that didn't have to go to the north side because it's now on the south side.
Yes.
Heavily.
And the price is lower.
Right, because it's economic. So the drug dealer is like, I want to keep them as a client, so I have to make some changes as well. So it's been that a challenge of that. But as we're trying to do is with this drug, like other drugs, it's a stigma with it, and they kind of go recluse. We can't find them. So it's our job now is to identify them, make them feel comfortable enough to keep them in check and know where they are.
Exactly.
And if they feel they're in harm's way, feel comfortable enough to talk to us so we can maintain, if they want to stay using, give them kind of harm reduction ways they can stay using, that being if you're having a partner so you can look out for one another, or trying to buy from the same person, and then providing them with the fentanyl strips to test the drugs, making sure that one of the causes we're going to go forward with you is getting out and making sure that we pass out Narcan.
Definitely.
So that everybody can have that Narcan as a way to prolong somebody's life, to give them another chance. And it's more so a reason to have a buddy if you're doing it. So.
Definitely. And that's definitely needed. Along with me having I've been doing peer support, or we call it outreach, for a number of years. But I recently took a course at IIT CRSS, which is a Certified Recovery Support Specialist, tongue touch. And what that is, it puts me in a position where I have to wear two hats.
Okay.
One as a provider, then as a peer support. More for peer support, you have to try to empower the person to make more decisions for themselves with confidence about it. Not saying, well, I think you should do this, or I think you should do that, or you should be treatment.
Right.
You know, try to help them
I think.
make decisions for themselves and help them carry it through. So I'm kind of...
I don't know if we're still giving audio now, but so we're going to continue. If you had a wish list, if there's somebody out here listening that wants to grant you some wishes, give me 3 things that you would love to have that you don't currently have, if, that someone can give you out there to help you further your cause.
Although it's not directly in my face, I would want to say support from family members, but talking to a lot of my participants, a lot of the negative started at home. Definitely for some of the survivors of trauma, whether it be HIV, chronic illness, mental health, abuse, to share their experience with the younger people.
Right.
Share that
So then,
experience with them.
All right, with that, and then let's say if there was any type of materials, or there's like say just you needed a space, a permanent space, or a vehicle, would that be something on your list?
Definitely, I do need space. That's a big help working with providers, because that space is available. And also for the client, that's a safe space, hopefully, that they're familiar with. Another thing that UNC needs is funding. I'm pretty new to nonprofits and, you know, managing this and managing that. But one of the key elements is to, first of all, engage people into open their avenue to other things.
As we're doing
other
with each other
things,
today.
right. Community engagement, groups, peer-led groups,
Right.
where We all talking. We're not worried about the supervisor listening to what we're
Right, right,
saying.
right, right.
Just an open conversation. Um, and just for people to step up. If you survive certain things, a lot of people don't feel they have value. You'd be surprised because even the men that I serve, they're some tough cookies.
You have
They
to be,
tough.
yeah, the main.
They tough.
So if just to get a little more with Scott, with our collaboration, Scott has we'll say about a month now. Scott has been working with Project Vita, with particularly Link Up in our outreach process as of today, um, coming out, passing, canvassing the participants in the Pride Fest, helping in our testing process for HIV and STI processes. On July 31st, Link Up will have one of their recurring events at Hydrate with Rough and Stuff. This 31st, which is a Monday, we'll be having a tribute to Tina Turner with the Drags, and we'll have Scott there as well. So if any of you are in the area and seeing this, please come out, say hello, and if you want to know more from Scott, that would be one time to do that. And then we're going to schedule in the next coming months again
Yes,
at Harold
definitely.
Washington Library
Definitely.
and possibly Jackson Park as well.
Definitely.
So look forward to that, and we'll have info out for that. Anything else you want to talk? You want to add before we wrap up?
I need donations. A lot of the men that I have. I mean,
And so, what type of donations would you need? I know you took
you
clothes
know,
out there.
Unc does anything. I even give away canned goods. And people say, well, they go to the food pantry and get canned goods. But see, when I go out to the community, they see me and they recognize me. I can hand you a can of chili and give you some information about services or housing or mental health. But it's an engagement that's really
So
the
any
connection.
organization, it'd be a church or another
church,
nonprofit that may
yes.
have overflow of
Clothes,
clothing or
food.
pantry that you can personally pass out there.
Shoes,
Right.
underwear, socks, and I'm sure everybody's aware of belts to keep
Yeah.
their pants up, you know.
Right.
So it's
All
really
purposes.
challenging. I mean, and they appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So one more time, give your email address completely out. So it's
UNC, Unity Network Community,
at gmail.com.
at gmail.com.
And again,
It's one long word, but it's easy. Somebody said it's long, but it's easy. Unity Network Community
Right.
at Gmail.
or you can hit linkupshy.info and we will get you in connection with him with the well, or you can join us as our collaboration with other groups, which we're now have collaborations with Threshold, Haymarket, the oh my God, I could think of the Pacific Gardens Ministries.
Pacific Garden
yeah,
Mission.
ministry. We also we're
NIME, the
collaborating.
National Alliance for Mental
Right.
Illness, is supporting
so
me.
we're doing it.
IIT is supporting me. So we
So-
got a little bag up.
It's starting and we're growing, so
Yes.
we'll have more information for that. That's part of a live show. People want to be
It
a part of
happens,
it. So, but so we're going to get back to doing our outreach, and if you're seeing this and you come out today, stop by to say hi. But definitely, I hope to hear from people in the coming times, and we'll have more live shows going on. Again, July 31st, we'll be at Hydrate. Our show will be for Tina Turner with Rough and Stuff. So come out and see us then. When you take our survey, you can get in for free, and we'll have swag and more information at that time. Thank you again for
Thank
joining
you.
me, and